Have you ever asked your financial advisor a question about retirement and then been returned with the answer, "It depends"? We know that the phrase "it depends" is often an answer that retirees receive from their financial advisor when they ask a blanket question. In today's video, we are going to be going over the 3 top questions that retirees ask about retirement and the ideas and things to consider in order to help answer those questions. Nothing is ever going to be straightforward or black and white. Everyone's situation is going to be different, but when you are given the answer, "It depends," we're going to help you understand what it depends on. So a notorious question that we are asked by retirees or those leading up to retirement is, how much money do I need to save in order to retire? Well, it depends. So what does it depend on? The first thing that you need to understand is what forms of income you are going to have in retirement. Popular forms of income, of course, would be Social Security, pensions, rental income, maybe you have an annuity. Any other forms of income will help you understand what you need to supplement your expenses. Let's say you've got $100,000 worth of expenses each year. If you have $50,000 worth of income throughout the year, you've got a pretty large gap to fill, about half. So you are going to need to supplement that with your retirement savings. That will help lead you to how much you need to have saved in retirement. Oftentimes we'll find that a pension and Social Security will cover all of your expenses. So that person isn't going to need as much saved in retirement because they're not relying on a larger bucket of money to supplement their expenses. Another question to ask yourself about your expenses to understand how much you need to have saved for retirement is what kind of lifestyle you want to live. If you live in a rural town in Mississippi while you are working, your expenses in retirement are going to be much higher if you decide to move to Manhattan in New York for your retirement years. So understand the state that you want to live in, the type of lifestyle you want to lead, how much traveling you're going to be doing, what other new expenses may come up while you are retired. Think about what your day-to-day is going to look like. What hobbies do you have? How much do those hobbies cost? There can be a difference in your expenses from working to retirement. The third thing to consider in order to understand how much you need to have saved for retirement is what type of legacy you want to leave. Do you have philanthropic or charitable wishes? Do you have a legacy that you want to leave to future generations? Do you have dollar goals that you have set that you would like to hit in order to leave that lump sum to future generations, like your kids or grandkids? These are all questions that you need to ask yourself in order to understand how much you need to have saved in retirement. The second most popular question that we get is all about taxes in retirement. What are taxes based off of once you're retired and you're no longer working? Well, similarly to when you are working, your taxes are based off of the different forms of income that you have during retirement, what that level of income was throughout the year, and again, what state you live in. So the state that you live in can dictate the taxes that you pay, of course. So being in California is going to be different from Oregon, it's different from Washington. So the state that you live in is going to factor into your taxes. Another big indicator of taxes in retirement is the type of account that you are pulling from, if you're taking distributions from your savings accounts or retirement accounts. Taking a distribution from a Roth IRA, for example, is going to be tax-free. Taking a distribution from a traditional IRA is going to be taxable income to you throughout the year. If you are buying and selling in a taxable or a brokerage account, taking a distribution isn't going to add to your taxable income. But depending on the transactions that you have throughout the year, you may have capital gains. So look at the transactions that you have made throughout the year. Where is your income coming from? How much total income do you have? Do you have investment income, pension income, Social Security income? Are you working part-time? Do you have a W-2? All of that is going to factor into your taxes in retirement. The third most popular question that we get about retirement, and we want you to know what it depends on, and this is highly personal, is how much money should I die with, or how much do I need as a buffer? You've run your projections out, you have, let's say, $1 million when you retire, and it looks like you're going to die with maybe $500,000. Is that enough to supplement your income come hell or high water? What if inflation is higher than it has been? What if markets are unfavorable for the first few years of retirement? Does that buffer $500,000 at the end of your life give you enough to last through your lifetime? right? Because our number one goal is to ensure that our clients have enough money to supplement their lifestyle. So there are a lot of projections and estimates that we can make, but oftentimes people are seeking this dollar amount, a kind of idea in the back of their mind of, I need to ensure that I have at least this much at the end of my life. So what are some things that you should consider in order to understand what that buffer is for you? The first thing to look at is health. Do you have any current pre-existing conditions? What does your health insurance cover? Do you have expenses that you know are going to happen? So your health is going to play a pretty big role in your expenses in retirement. Long-term care insurance is another thing to factor in. If you have long-term care insurance, then maybe some of those larger bills that could be expected later in life, you aren't going to have to pay out of pocket. Another thing to consider is life insurance. Now, this can come into play in a multitude of different ways, but if you're thinking about leaving enough money for a spouse, if you have a life insurance policy on yourself, then your spouse will likely receive that insurance money after you pass. If you have philanthropic or gifting wishes that you want to leave after you pass, then a life insurance policy can help fund some of those goals. So looking at the end of life balances, it's really hard to give a solid number because, of course, it depends. Everyone is going to be different, but those are just a few factors and things to consider if you want to know what buffer you should have at the end of your life. So those were our 3 most commonly asked questions about retirement that are highly personal. There is no real one-size-fits-all recommendation for any person, but if you are wondering what it depends on, then these are some things that you should consider. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at insight@pureportfolios.com, and we would be happy to connect with you and answer some of those questions. As always, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next one.